Hi everyone, my name is Waleska Lazo and I am with the Gratitude Experiment and the FMTG course, which stands for 5 Minutes to Gratefulness. And I am so excited to be having this conversation with Charlene Fuller because she was one of the original. Actually, you are the second, you enter on the second term of the course, is that correct?
That's correct.
So the second time that I offered the course, Charlene came and she has done one of the most amazing transformations that I've seen out of all my students. And she is all the way from Australia. So it's quite early for her. It's 4 a.m. or something crazy. So I'm very appreciative of you waking up to do this with me. And the reason, Charlene, I am doing these testimonials is hopefully someone will watch and you can inspire their life and to make the changes that, that are necessary. And yeah. I love your story because when you came into the course, I remember you told me that you had come from a situation where you had been in a marriage or I don't know if it was a couple of relationships that had been very abusive to you and that had a tremendous impact on your ability to believe in yourself. So why don't you tell us, for the benefit of the people watching, tell us a little bit about your story.
For me, I came from a single parent. My mum was like my best friend, married somebody. I guess long before that, my biological dad had actually didn't want to know me. Twice he didn't want to know me. So I never met him till I was like 4 years ago. Then my mum married someone and my stepfather said, I remember growing up, I'd be lucky if any guy would actually marry me. And he told me that when I was about 13 or 14. So that was obviously imprinted in my brain. Now I realise, looking back, that was imprinted in my brain. So my self-esteem, obviously, after that, it was never good. So, but even though my mum and my grandparents loved me, like it was so solid for me, my stepdad obviously did that seed that started. And then I got married once, and then he went off with my best friend after 14 months. And then after that, I did remarry after that, and that turned into a really emotional, financial, abusive marriage for about 10 years. So that did a lot of damage, and as the first one did, and then that was 10 years ago. I left that 10 years ago. So I've been working on myself ever since, from day one. And and I guess I've been rebuilding, and that's when I actually opened up into this month, and I mentioned Bob, which is taking me. I've noticed each month I open up a little bit more because I feel safer and safer to open up. Yeah, and because the one yesterday regarding children and it was our pets, that's what the first time I'd open up about that. So for me to open up publicly about that was quite, I guess it was vulnerable, very vulnerable to do too. So it's taught me a lot about vulnerability too. So, yeah.
Yes, and I think, a lot of people think that being vulnerable is a sign of weakness. And in fact, it's a sign of strength and power. Be able to, just show your true self to the world and to yourself. And you brought some good points because part of the work for those people listening that, don't know much about FMTG is we talk a lot in the course about childhood conditioning, from an early age and, what we hear our parents tell us or what we hear or what we see our parents do becomes ingrained in our subconscious mind. And I know that you had a lot of those, limiting beliefs, from, your stepdad or, like growing up, and then sort of manifested by you attracting relationships into your life that were equally abusive.
Totally. Yeah.
And, I commend you for, taking the steps to reverse all those things, because a lot of people go through life attracting the same thing over and over, different face, but it's the same pattern because, they are not doing the work. And so you are, and I know I've seen firsthand your transformation from when you started that course back in, I guess it would have been December
Yeah, it was December.
Of course. So yeah, it's been amazing, and nothing warms my heart more than to hear, your stories and how in love you have fallen with your life, and that is in essence the whole purpose of FMTG.
Oh, okay.
To make us see the world, with different eyes and a new heart, and you really embody all of that. So I was very excited to do this talk with you. And in the course, Charlene, what has been, I guess, because you've taken it a few times, what has been the biggest aha moment that you've had, from doing the work?
For me, I found it's like an onion. It keeps all the layers of healing keep coming off bit by bit. And each course I seem to have an aha moment, literally, but it will be at a different subject. And that's what I found. Like the first one was our inner child. That was the first time it literally, I just cried, and it just felt like I'd lifted up, like something inside me had just, been unleashed. Like it was so peaceful. It was totally, that's what it felt like. It just literally was like something had just come out, and I felt so at peace. And then each month something else would unfold, and would do more healing. And like since then, like I've changed my lifestyle. I've changed. I'm reading. I've just like in 6 months I've changed so much because I've changed so much about my life as well. So it's literally done that as well. So it's like I'm more self-care now. I do sound healing now. It's like it's totally, that's what I mean. It's changed everything. I bought crystals last week, which I'd had. And it's really funny. I bought crystal bracelets about 5 years ago, not long after my marriage broke up, but didn't understand. So obviously they were calling me. Now I understand. So yeah, it was all those little things that I had along the way, but didn't understand what they were in my life for, I guess. Yeah. So
that's beautiful. Yes. And I think that as you begin to improve the relationship you have with yourself, you begin to also improve the relationship that you have with the world around you.
Yeah.
Right? And you become excited about life again. And so, you go into different adventures and things, which you obviously are doing. And it's so nice to see. One of the things that I wanted to touch a little deeper in is the inner child, because I know that had such a huge impact for you. And what a lot of people out there don't realize is that everything that affects us as an adult, is rooted to our childhood, to the beliefs that we made early on through our caregivers, our parents, and our peers. So I really love the work you have done, because what you had to do is go back in time, right? And in a meditative state, you have to go and revisit your little girl. Can you tell us specifically what happened at that moment when you actually saw yourself little, and what did you say to her to heal her?
I remember that moment, like it was like, to me, I had vision sitting in a park bench, like as you said.
Yes.
And she was sitting there, and all I said was that she's loved and that she's safe, and everything was going to be all right. And just that, I think it was that safety, and that everything was going to be all right, and that she was loved. It was that simple, because for me, I think that's what I was missing, was that safety and that love. And to know in myself, to give myself that permission, and to talk to my inner child was so empowering and just so peaceful as well. So, and that's when all the tears just broke. It was more the safety, I think, as well. And and she's respected. It's just totally, it was just so, the simple words, but to say it, as you said, it's changed everything.
Yes. I think the interesting thing about childhood or inner child conditioning, people call it different ways, but, it's amazing how we have to be responsible for everything, even the things that we didn't create ourselves.
Yes.
Right? Because it seems kind of crazy to have to go back in time and to fix something that somebody else did. And yet here you are taking responsibility for your life and your healing, going back in time to give that little girl all the things that, you know, your dad or whoever was supposed to give you. And so it's like you are now the parent.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that.
Girl, right? We become the parent, we go back and we healed our child by giving, you know, them whatever it was that we didn't get as young kids. And the process is quite simple. You know, in 5 minutes, you can do a lot of healing. And that crying that you are feeling, it's joy, it's freedom, it's, you know, you're lifting emotions that were probably trapped inside of you for so long. And, you know, this is an exercise that, you know, we don't just do once. It's something that we continue to work until you feel that all those layers of the onion, as you say, have healed, right? Because there's various things in our childhood that we need to address, and we have to do it one by one. So, you know, now that you know the technique, I'm sure that you probably keep going back in time and to heal different aspects as you go through, right?
I do, and it's like I do actually understand I've actually like do mirroring as well, like started doing that. I do journaling, and I started reading another book, and it actually said to like, you write a love letter to, someone would write a love letter to you, and then you read out the love letter that they've written to you. And it just sort of empowers you as well, because you realize how unique you are. And it was like, it just totally changed. Like everything is just built on that one. Yeah, that first time I joined the experiment, everything else is built on it now. So it's just like a continually, I guess it's a foundation, and then it just builds and builds. So that's what I've found. It's so empowering.
When you came into the course, obviously you came with, you know, you had a bit of a bruised, you know, self-esteem and everything. And then I was reading your comments in the course and how you were so in love with yourself. You kept, you know, referring to, I'm so in love with myself. I'm falling in love with myself. And that is so beautiful, because self-love is, I believe, the number one issue that we all suffer from. You know, it's easy to love other people. We don't think that we need to love ourselves. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, so before you started the course, you know, how you felt about yourself versus, you know, now 5 months, 6 months into, you know, embracing FMTG?
Even a year ago, I would say I was still dealing with self-esteem issues. I just felt, I didn't love, had low self-esteem, didn't love myself, didn't think I was beautiful, I didn't see how unique I was. I didn't realize like everybody is unique, and we're beautiful because we're unique, we're who we are. So, and that's what makes us special as well. So I just had all the low self-esteem, everything, all the negative stuff that I could say about myself I used to. So, and I used to be a perfectionist, and I realized being a perfectionist is not good. So I've learned that I do make mistakes, and I've learned to fail forward. So every mistake makes you go positive. So, so I've gone from that to now I just feel so happy. I see all my little quirks as, I actually celebrate them. I celebrate who I am. I'm ambidextrous. I eat my knife and fork on the opposite hand. So I celebrate everything. I eat pizza with knives and forks. It's like everything that's quirky about me, I celebrate. I look in the mirror and I see that sparkle now. I can see the happiness inside and love inside me. And it just makes me appreciate. And I don't know, I've learned to fall in love with my DNA, which is who I am. And that's one thing as well. So, because we're all so different and unique. And it just makes me smile because, and everything around me, I used to always take everything in. Like if someone would say something to me, I would take it in and it was my fault. Now I don't. I realize that's who they are, and I just get on with my work. And yeah, I don't take things personally. I'm a sensitive person, sensitive soul, but I don't take things personally anymore. So it's just built up that confidence and self-esteem. Yeah, I'm just so happy. It's like the road just keeps on it's like the road is growing further. So yeah, and I get told I've got such a positive vibration, and people see how much fun I am now, and I spoke to someone last night a guy I went on a date with a couple of months ago, probably last year, in Canberra. We're separated because we're in lockdown, and he could just tell the difference in me from last time he spoke to me. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
So,
yeah. I mean, they say, your energy field affects the energy field of another person.
Yeah.
So absolutely, people can, feel that energy. And, people watching may say, how can that be possible? How can a transformation like that happen from spending just 5 minutes a day? What would you tell them? Like, why would FMTG work if it's just 5 minutes?
You need to be open-minded for a start. And I was lucky that fate brought me here, because I know Barry that's in the group. The day before I literally started in December, I was on a Facebook group and he said to me, do you want to join? So I was so lucky fate stepped in. And I would say that 5 minutes, because it comes so in your subconscious, if you're open to it and you're open to being vulnerable, it can just transform your life. That simple. But you need to be open and you need to be vulnerable. That's the most important thing. And it's the most caring group. Like, you're so supported and there's no judgment as well. And I think that's very important too. So people have the confidence to know that they're not going to be judged, and they're not going to be, it's more important that they're not going to be judged, because people feel really insecure about that. So, which I understand. So, and I guess for me, I just went in there with open heart, and just that's why I let everything out. I think for me it was just letting everything out to start with. So that could be why it transformed as well as open to it. Yeah, but you have to have an open mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you have to, I think 5 minutes to gratefulness, as the acronym of FMTG, it works because it's not just those 5 minutes. It's that when you're doing those 5 minutes consistently for 28 days, right? It's the accumulative effect. And then now take that throughout your whole life, right? Because once you learn the system, I'm hoping that you will never stop. That FMTG.
Oh no, I do it every morning.
And it becomes a part of your life before you get out of bed. You connect to what you're grateful for. And so you set yourself up for the rest of the day and for the rest of your life.
I do like a meditation, and then I do the gratefulness. So I still do and then at night I'll do it again. So I get to bed going, I'm really grateful for today. And it's like, it's literally, or I'll be driving to it going, I'm really grateful, and see what's around me. So you start to appreciate what's around you as well. It's not just like when you're in that 5 minutes, you start to appreciate everything else around you. And
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Like even like you're driving to it, and like it's raining this morning, and I'm like, I'm grateful it's raining. It's like, I'm in lockdown, but I can hear the rain, so it's beautiful. It's like something so simple.
Yes, it is simple, right? Yeah. It's simple when you want to apply it.
And then I'm like, I'm in lockdown, but I'm safe because I'm in lockdown. It's like, grateful for that. I've got, air in my lungs and my heart's beating. It's, that's what makes me understand that, just that little things, it just makes your life so rich.
Yes. And that's a beautiful thing, for those of you who don't know, but FMTG aims at having you find, something to be grateful for at every moment. You don't have to like everything that happens in your life, but even in those moments of despair or sickness or sorrow, you can still find something to be grateful for. And so when you shift your mindset to understand that things are not happening to you before you, now you get into a position of power. You're not longer the victim, right? You are causing an effect in your life rather than just waiting out there, for the randomness of the universe to take you in whatever direction. No, you do have a lot of control in how you choose to live your life and what you choose to create for your life. And I think that you're doing an amazing job. So I'm very happy.
I'm loving it. It's like I've learned, I know I'm actually grateful for what has happened. I know it sounds, some people wouldn't understand that because it's counterintuitive because all of it was so negative, but I'm grateful because I wouldn't be the person I am today if I hadn't gone through all of that. So, and I understand it now.
Yes, and
And
that's it. You hit it on the nail, because one of the first things that I teach in the course is, to demystify what gratitude is, because we're so used to thinking that, you're grateful when something good happens. And it's quite the opposite. Until you can become grateful for the sad things, the hurtful things, the betrayals, and, whatever it is that we've gone through in life that we don't really want to welcome. When you can get to a point of loving and being grateful for your life in its totality, that's when you evolve, right? It's learning to feel grateful for those moments and to know that everything that you've gone through was preparing you. So it's like a stepping stone into your ultimate destiny.
That's what it feels like, yeah.
You were meant to be, yes. And you were meant to be someone that was happy, fulfilled, feeling beautiful, feeling confident, and you are achieving all of that. And that is, I am blown away by your transformation. So.
And there was one thing I'd said when I went through my breakup, like I always wanted to inspire at least one person. And it's really funny because when you say now I inspire others, I just go, that was my goal. It was like, it's really funny. This was like 8 years ago. I was like, if I can inspire somebody, that was all I wanted to do. And now I want to do more. I want to do more for people. It's like, because I understand
pain and make, what you're doing is you're finding the gift in your pain. You're finding the pain, right?
I never thought of it like that.
Transforming other people. And that's beautiful. That's what life is about. We all want to make a difference. We want to make sure that we matter and that we can change a life. And you are, because, there are other people out there watching this that have gone through a lot of abusive relationships. And some people may still be in abusive relationships. And, you're an example of, that bravery that, you can leave and you can change. You can take charge of your life. You don't have to stay in something that's harmful for you. And, it took a lot of guts for you to walk away.
I would find it's quite ironic because with what happened with Bob, that gave me the courage and the fight to, like, I'm a determined person anyway, but that gave me the fight to leave and to have a better life. And that was the one. And then my mother, because I lost my mother a year later, and she'd said to me when we'd broken up, she went, if he thinks you're not going to fight, he doesn't know you. So she already knew I had that determination in me anyway. And after what happened with Bob and then losing my mum, it just, obviously they gave me, I had that strength, but they gave me even more. I guess they constantly encouraged me, even though they were no longer there. And it was to always, for me, for Bob, it was like, I'm having a normal life, so he didn't die in vain. That was my mentality, and that's what has pushed me as well. So, and yeah, it was that. So I think I went to a course one day, like dealing with domestic violence, and the lady said that I had put his life in front of mine, and because I'd lost him, then that's when I started to fight. So, and the courage to leave is it's easy to leave, but to rebuild that's when it gets hard. So I think until you've actually gone through it, I know it doesn't make sense, but yeah, that's what it's like. So, because all that healing is so complicated. So yeah.
Yes.
But it can be done.
Really learning to love yourself enough to set healthy boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Because if you love yourself enough, you wouldn't put up with anyone abusing you. So you've come a long way, because I know that today you're a different person. I know that for sure.
Yeah. And I've got healthy boundaries. I don't tolerate things. I never used to say no. I was always like, I would say yes, but I would be like the good girl, I guess, whatever they call it, and I wouldn't have those boundaries. And now I have those boundaries, and I stand my boundaries, and there's a little feisty side of me now, which is really quite good. It's like, that's my fun feisty side, so it's really nice. And I think now I see who I truly am. It's with all the healing that's been done, and that's exciting too. So you discover who you are.
I know that you said, when you came into the course, you had, obviously given the circumstances of where you came from, you had a lot of love blocks. So you had closed yourself off, maybe even unconsciously, that, you had closed off to love because you were probably afraid that, the next relationship would also be, abusive. And, you mentioned there was a story you told me, you went on a date and then 16 months passed and then you saw the same person again, and the person told you, like, they were blown away that you were a complete different person. You were confident, you were open, they felt that you had no walls, even though you didn't know 16 months ago that they had picked up on that. And I think that's amazing. When you hear other people commenting on your changes, that's when you know, oh my gosh, like, this is actually working. And the one thing that's new in your life is FMTG. If I have to give, FMTG a plug.
That's what started it all. That's what started it. So that's where my healing has began, was FMTG. Totally. It's like, that's my foundation. So I wouldn't have done it anywhere else. And I've told people that's why I've, mentioned it to other people, like, do this. And because I've seen how much it's changed my life. So, but the ironic thing is, a lot of people, as Barry said to me, a lot of people aren't ready for that. They're not, they've got to be at the right spot to be ready for something like that. So,
and it's great that you do mention that, because, you can tell someone everything that they have to do, but unless they are ready, to receive the message and do something about it, it won't work. So 100%, FMTG is not for everyone. FMTG is for those people that have reached, a low level where they are so fed up, and, change is the only alternative, right? And, we have people that, have come to FMTG with a lot of trauma behind, but we also have people that they were very happy. They came into the course, and on the survey they said, I'm happy, I love my life, 10 out of 10. And after the course ended, they said, oh my God, I didn't realize, that I did have stuff to work on, that I did have some trauma that I have forgotten that, went up to the surface. Because that's, we're all work in progress. We're never fully healed. I mean, I think part of the human journey is, it's a journey of healing, right? And so when you never arrive, we're always going somewhere. But I found that very interesting, that the people that came into the course, fully fulfilled and happy, they still felt a need to learn about FMTG and see how they could make their lives even better.
I find that interesting too, actually. Yeah. But I've had two people now that I've known, like the gentleman last night that I took, like, we're really good friends, and he knows how different I was, and the guy I got on a date with 16 months ago. So that's two guys that have said it, and I think that's quite, now I can actually see it. It's like, wow, it totally, as you said, it's transforming.
Yeah, and what happens is when you start to see a transformation, you begin to love that person you're becoming. So now you begin to also protect the person you are. And when you find yourself slipping back into your old self, you're very protective. And, you like, that's what happened to me. I would get, thoughts that, well, why do you do that? No one will know. You've done it before. And I remember talking to myself and saying, no, I'm not that person anymore. That is new. That is not who I choose to be. And so that was really empowering for me. And it was like an aha moment, to be able to become aware of your unconscious thoughts and behaviors and to correct them, because you can only correct something when you're aware of them. And I'm sure that's happening to you, where you catch yourself.
It's not been an easy journey, but it's been a fulfilling journey. And it's like, it's bumpy along the road as well. So you do have those moments where you revert back to your old thoughts and you go, and now I pick them up as well, because I've learned through meditation, you learn to pick up on those thoughts, and then you just let them pass away. You let them go like clouds. So that's helped as well. So, and I find meditation, though, it just helps so much as well. So that's what it introduced. I mean, I was doing a little bit before, so that's when I pick things up all along the way, and it's just accumulated now. So
putting it all together.
yeah.
Well, I am so thrilled to see your transformation. You know, there is nothing that suits my spirit more than this. That's why I do the work. You know, I love
my
my
spirit's thanking your spirit.
Yes. I'm like, oh my God, Charlene, she can do it. Everyone can do it. And you're inspiring people. You inspire me when I read your messages. And I'm like, oh my God, FMTG actually really works.
Really?
You know? I knew at that time that it worked on me. It healed my life, but it's something different, you know, giving the system to somebody else and seeing the results. And I am just so excited. FMTG everywhere in the world, and there's Pandora. So yeah, I'm so excited for you and see what your future holds and what you choose to create with it.
I've just found now I believe that it's for me, and it's like anything I want I can have. It's like there's, like I said yesterday, there's no time limit, there's no use by date, there's no age limit. And that's exactly what I do. And I'm just like, I feel like 2020 now is like a year of, like, for me, it's like rebirth, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And FMTG is obviously a lot of that, because I've been doing, because I've been doing it since December. And it's actually 10 years next month since my marriage broke up, and I'm actually going to have a party. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I might have a Zoom party.
A Zoom, yes, why not?
A Zoom party just to celebrate. Yeah, just to celebrate, because I've seen how far I've come. Like, every little step afterwards, after that day, has been growth, I guess. And this has been the most major in the last 7 months. So. And I look back and just see how much I've changed. Like, even in August this year, I looked back where I was August last year, and it's just a totally different person. It's
amazing what gratitude can do. Gratitude.
Yeah, and
it's everything.
And I'm grateful for you coming into my life. It's like
we were meant to touch each other's, paths, they say. Because, I've also learned a lot from you and your comments and your ability to inspire other people in the course. And that's the beautiful part about FMTG, that you're meeting people from around the world, all coming together under one umbrella. Like you said, no one's judging. Everyone's coming with their own traumas, always, everyone looking to heal. Obviously, we all perceive the world a little bit different.
Yeah.
But for some reason in the course, everyone feels like we're one. It's not Charlene and Waleska and Barry. Like, it feels one energy, and we're all there to heal. And that is unbelievable.
And I think now, looking back, which I've never realized, but I actually think it's taught me to be vulnerable as well, which I never actually, now I look back and I go, actually, it has taught me to be vulnerable, because I open up.
Yes.
And I blocked all that in before. So it's taught me to be vulnerable. And that's really, it feels like a strength now. It's not a weakness.
Exactly.
So maybe subconsciously it was teaching me that, and I didn't realize it. So there you go. It was like.
I know. And you know how you said, that even a year ago you wanted to inspire, even if it's just one person. But what people don't realize, that in order for us to inspire anyone, we first need to open up.
Yeah.
Right? In order to help someone that has a broken heart, we need to show our broken heart. Right? That is how you inspire others, by being vulnerable, by being open, by being yourself, raw and beautiful. And you are all of that. So thank you so much.
I was raw yesterday on our thing too. I know it all came out. So, but it was, I know for me yesterday, when I said what we'd done in our FMTG, I didn't bring it up before, because I was judged from a friend like years ago when it had happened, and that's why it didn't come up. And then I just went, no, I'm putting it out there. And it still hurts, like that thing that happened to Bob still hurts, but to open up and have people understand was just that. It was like a big warm hug. That's what it feels like. You get all these warm hugs off everyone.
In fact, I was reading something that says that when we humans grieve, that one of the things that allow us to heal is to have others witness our suffering.
Okay.
And I thought,
Good to know.
yeah, that there is healing, that part of what we want unconsciously is to have someone pay witness to our hurt. And when you have that, and no one is saying, you know what, just get over it, but when they actually make space for you to feel your grief, it's very healing. And FMTG is all about that. You have this incredible group of people who come into this course not knowing each other, and then they end up having, like, we have now friendships that will probably last a lifetime.
I've got friends I'm friends with you, I'm friends with Sawati, Francois, and like that's it, and then Dawn. So I've got friends all over the world, and it's like my goal is like, as soon as we can travel, I'd love to visit everyone. It's like
exactly. I know we say, we gotta meet somewhere in the middle, between Canada, US, Europe. Like we gotta meet in the middle, and it's because we have been, joined by a transformative experience.
Yeah.
You healed, I've healed, and I may be the teacher, as some people say, of course, but I do learn so much from each one of you. So the learning goes both ways, and the only way to learn is by us sharing, by us, being open and vulnerable.
When you were saying when you share with people, and that's when you heal. When I went through my experience, I had no support for 2.5 years, so I was on my own. And that obviously would have stunted my healing because I just didn't have anyone there. So, I can see how it's transformed to have that support. You need that support. It's so important. And because FMTG is everybody's so understanding and there's no judgment. And it's like those big warm hugs. And it's beautiful. That's how I would describe it. Like,
And Charlene, if someone was watching this and they were thinking about, taking a course, what would you tell them? Last minute words. Why should they consider taking an FMTG course?
Mine was like, are you happy now? That was that simple. Are you happy? Are you happy with who you are? Are you happy in your life? It's like, just believe that you can change your life and you can change who you are. And you're always a work in progress. Like, I've got goals that I still want to achieve and everything like that. But it can be done if you're open to it and you've got that will to do it. It can be done. It's that simple. But don't put it off. It's like, and it's so simple. That's the thing. It's simple and powerful is what I would say.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And then put love at the end of it.
5 minutes a day, commit 28 days. That's what the course is about. And you can repeat the course, obviously, there's a lot of benefit. I remember some students, they said, we want to take the course. And this is when I was testing the concepts. And I thought, okay, you can take the course again, but the lessons are the same. And they said, that's okay. And they went through it. And what came out was even more significant than the first time. Because what I believe it does is when you take, you do your 28 days, you will shake a lot of things that are stored deep inside. And so you remove the first layer, but when you do it again, now you go deeper and things have a whole different meaning. Even though the lessons are the same, the impact and the healing that is taking place is completely different than the first time.
And different lessons will shake different times as well. So that's what I found. Like each month it'll shake a different time, or you'll be more open to open up more about a certain thing. And each month it shakes you, not shakes you in more, but a different layer will come off.
Yes.
And and that's what I found as well. And then as that layer comes off, you discover who you are more, and then you start changing your life as well, because that's what I've done. It's like as the layers have come off, parts of me have come through, and then in the process my life has changed. I've started doing other things as well. So it opens up a different world. It opens up a new world. But doing it month by month is just, it's so empowering. And
and it even it keeps you accountable.
And even my friend that started this month, and he said he's actually finding he's really happy. Like, he's starting to open up a little bit more than he was in the first month. So now he's starting to, and he's like, you know, I'm really grateful that, you know, because we're having a lot of work going on. He's like, I'm really grateful I'm still working. And I'm like, wow, you can see him start to soften a bit more now. So
yes, and exactly, that's what happens. You know, we are able to change limiting beliefs in the course because of every layer that comes off. It becomes easier to change those beliefs, right? Because you do a lot of, you know, surrendering the past, letting go of things you can't control, learning to love yourself, to forgive. I mean, forgiving. I mean, there's 2 lessons dedicated to forgiving yourself and to forgiving others. And I think that's very powerful, where you can just let go and not be, because people don't understand that we carry this heavy burden, and the person that we're upset or that we blame for our unhappiness, they don't even know. They're not affected. We are the ones who are carrying that huge anchor. So that's one of my favorite parts of the course, that teaches how to actually let go and forgive. And it's not to excuse, you know, what people have done to us, not at all. But it's an act of self-love when we can finally forgive, because we're doing it for ourselves.
And that's the thing, the people that have done it don't care anyway. That's the thing. So you need, I understand this. Forgiveness is so important. I forgive everybody that's done what they've done to me, but it's, in the end, it's my perception as well. So, and my self-love, and now what they think of, now what they think of me doesn't really matter. It's what I think of me that matters, that I've learned too.
Absolutely. Beautiful, beautiful. Anyway, Charlene, I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being my champion out there for FMTG. I'm very proud of you, and I hope that I will continue to see your progress, and just know that anything is possible and you can make everything happen.
I will invite you to my wedding when it happens one day.
Absolutely.
Because I know everything's possible, and everything is possible. So my wedding, and I've got goals as well, like new goals as well in my job. So
Beautiful.
yeah, and you might be able to inspire me and help me. So yeah, it's
good. And you know, and like when you're talking about goals, that's, you know, week 4 of the course, where you have to create the blueprint of the life you want to create, and that's very powerful, because our brains will go to work with whatever blueprint we're given it, right? So they will go and find the tools, the circumstances, the people to make your dreams happen. So keep on dreaming. Absolutely.
I think I've figured out that I'm very good socially, like because of my work and the healing and my experience. So yeah, that's why I want to do like life coaching as well now, because I want to help and inspire people as well, and mostly help them, because if they were as lost as I was, then that's what they need that. And it's like, and that's what I've gone through, everything I've gone through to be that.
Absolutely. And you can. I mean, like I said, you know, you've come from a very abusive background, and look at you. So you have a story to tell, and you do have a lot to inspire. So I look forward to that.
I'll keep you up to date.
And so thank you so much. And for those of you watching, if you want to find out information about the Gratitude Experiment, the course runs every 6 weeks, and you can find information at wellescalazo.com/the Gratitude Experiment, no spaces. And I welcome you to come to, you know, any of the courses, and and hopefully to see your transformation, just like Charlene's. Thank you.
Thank you.